Alrighty. We're back. I wanted to kick off this episode with something that has been all over the internet, which is the When We Were Young festival, and just talk about that a little bit. We got a bunch of other topics to cover on this podcast, but first off, I saw this When We Were Young thing first on Instagram when a bunch of my friends were sharing this thing around, and it's, if you don't know about it, it's a bunch of bands from back when like people in my generation were growing up. I'm 26, so bands like Bring Me the Horizon, A Day to Remember, Avril Lavigne, Jimmy Eat World, 30H3, and so on and so forth. Now, I have a lot to say about this because there's a lot of weird things about it. I guess we'll start kind of surface level, I guess, and work our way down. First off, just from a general standpoint of things, it's so weird when you see bands like this that come back, because I've been to plenty of shows like this. A good one to point out would be, like, I went to go see Bob Dylan, like, not that long ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. And when you go to see someone, or see a band, I should say, or I guess, yeah, someone that was once really good, and then you go to see them later on, they're not going to sound the same, right? I mean, they might sound close to it. Not to say that all these bands are old and they like wouldn't sound good, right? When I went to go see Bob Dylan, it sounded like he had a stoma. It was not the same experience. So it's really weird to think that like all these bands would sound exactly how we did, and that they would play, like, even just play the songs we're hoping for them to play. Because as I was on Facebook the other day, I looked at this, right? And it's a 3-day breakdown of how this would all happen. And so when you think about it, there's, I think, 63 bands here, and there's 3 stages, right? So how would that work? That's a lot of music, and that's a lot of people. And also another thing I'm going to talk about in a little bit is kind of who's hosting this. But before I get into that, so let's look at this. Let's look at this spreadsheet. So we have day 1 right here of the band starts at 11 o'clock, and then it goes till 11 o'clock at night. So day 1 would be bands 1 through 21. That would be a start time of 11 o'clock and 11:20. And then each band needs like a changeover time, right? So like to switch out their microphones to, you don't even need to explain it. Bands just have that turnover time, no matter who you see. A band doesn't just play and then play. So some girl on Facebook, total champ, and just laid this whole thing out. So she wrote here 11:35 to 11:55 we band 2. So we're looking at literal 20 minutes per band with like 15-minute changeover times. 20 minutes, like let's say each song is like 3 to 4 minutes, right? That would give you like 3 to 4 songs per band, realistically, right? Maybe a 5th song for some. So you might not even get to hear the songs that you'd want to hear. But on top of that, that's just a crazy thing to think that a band would play in 20 minutes. But also another thing that I heard, again, I don't know if this is real, but I heard that like some bands just didn't even know they were like, well, they knew they were in this, right? But they didn't like have it confirmed. So there might be bands that drop out of this for all I know. And hey, maybe it will work that way. But it's just crazy to me that like someone actually did this. You know what I mean? Was like, yeah, for sure. 3 different days, 63 bands. No problem. Hey, what? Especially for something that goes from 11 to 11. Maybe like if, I don't know. Maybe it starts at 11 because maybe that's like the time you can like first play music or something. I don't know. I just think this whole thing is like very, very weird. And when you go on Instagram, you see like it kind of sets up people my age. I'm 26. So these are bands, like I said, that I grew up listening. Well, I didn't really necessarily grow up listening to these. These are just bands that I knew of when I was a little bit younger. There's only a couple on here that I've listened to, but I obviously know about them. But yeah, when you see this, you think, wow, I need to go see that. So they really found the people my age that can pay for something like this. And I think someone said it was like $300 to go for one day, which is a lot of money. But I mean, I'm not going to like take away from the fact that someone doesn't deserve that money. Like obviously they would, but it's a lot of money for something that has like a lot of like uncertainty to it, right? And there's a TikTok that I just saw about this. So I want to pull this TikTok up real quickly. It was attached to this Rolling Stone article I read, and this girl that went viral. Let's watch this TikTok together.
All right, friends, before you drop close to $300 buying tickets to this on Friday, just listen to what I have to say. I'm gonna hit y'all with an unpopular opinion, and the fangirls might come for me, but whatever. And those of you who know me personally know that I would want nothing more than to see this lineup. Like, holy shit. But anyways, let's do some simple math to see how this works out. So if you count all the bands on the flyer, there's 65 bands, there's 12 hours in the festival day, and there's 3 stages. If you do that math, it works out to about 33 minutes and change for each band to play. Now, obviously, some bands are gonna play for longer, some bands are gonna play for shorter, but we're just strictly talking logistics here. And that 33 minutes and change number includes times for bands to tear down and set up for the next band's set. Like legit, I'm not going to even pretend to call myself an event planner, but I have a calculator and I've been to my fair share of festivals, and it just seems like so much can go wrong with this. I would be so ready to throw my money at this if it was a 2-day festival. So ready. But I literally just can't justify spending close to $300 on something that seems like it's going to be Fyre Fest 2.0. But that's just my opinion. If somebody wants to prove me wrong and tell me how this would work, I'm genuinely curious because I want to go, but it just does not seem like it's worth my money. Also, one more side note, if you look at the refund policy, it says that all sales are final, unless the event's canceled. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a problem. Why does it say all ticket sales are final and there's not even like an offer to refund for something that's like such a havoc?
But I don't know. It just seems super sketch to me. Prove me wrong, please. Fyre Fest Vegas edition, let's fucking go.
So the reason that people are getting upset over this too is because this is hosted by the same people that hosted Astrofest, which obviously people still haven't gotten over because 10 people died from that. And clearly that was just the worst organization ever. And now they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's forget about that. We got this cool festival. It's going to go right over everyone's head. Yeah, that's what it's like. Dude, that's another reason why this is so weird. You know? It's just so weird to me that, like, they can put these bands that everybody knows about in front of people's face, and then something so significant can just go right over people's head as if it never happened. Not to say that everybody thinks that, but when you see something like this, you immediately don't think of it. Like when I first saw this, I didn't even think of Astrofest. So I didn't even see, like, it says Live Nation in just the smallest font on top of this. So all you read is when we were young. Your eyes don't even go to Live Nation, and they probably did that on purpose. But I mean, at least I hope if it happens, they can do something about it so that they're running more protective measures, I guess, and being more conscientious people. But also COVID is still happening. And I know this wouldn't be until like the spring and summer, so I don't know. Maybe the numbers will be a little bit more down by then, but nonetheless, like COVID is still happening. That's kind of a lot of people to jam pack into something for COVID still going on, which is also another weird thing. But here, I have actually another TikTok I saw about this, which cracked me up. I want to show you guys this TikTok. Let's watch this together.
So, am I looking here, or do I look directly at the camera? Over there? Okay.
Dude, I just think this caption is so funny. The Netflix documentary in 3 months about the When We Were Young festival. It seems to be like the reoccurring thing that people do. whenever there's like something so big like this, that people just want to lunch off of it for monetary purposes, right? And they want to make like a documentary about this is the behind the scenes and da da da. It's just a good way for people to like make money. But beside the point, let's watch this.
How would I describe when we were young? Let's just say 30 minutes into the show, When We Were Dumb was trending on Twitter. So I think where we all went wrong was just forgetting how the concept of time works. You have a 12-hour festival, okay? You have 60 bands. Even if each band plays 12 minutes, which is ridiculous, that's 720 minutes. That's 12 hours. That's the whole festival right there. It's over. That's it. And running out of food? When they brought out Pedigree, the actual bags of dog food, I was...
Oh, I love that line. All right, let's continue.
I was like, we're done. This is over. I mean, I had some because I was really hungry and I don't really mind the taste, but I mean, there were kids there. You can't give kids dog food. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't, you know? I'm sorry, there's how many more cases now?
Dude, that TikTok is so funny. I came across that earlier today. But yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to go over with this real quickly. So I brought up the Rolling Stone article. Let's see what this says about it. All right, so it says, where the hell did this come from? Believe it or not, this is actually the second When We Were Young festival, so it's not the first one. The first one took place in Santa Ana, California in 2017, a week before Coachella. Across 2 days, but less flashy of a set of punk, emo, and indie rock nostalgia acts with Morrissey, Descendants, Cage Elephant. I actually do remember this. Is this seriously all happening in one day? This is crowded and ridiculous to expect that this many bands can appear in just 12 hours, unless their sets are whittled down to 20 minutes of pure hits. According to ticketing information, there will be 3 stages across festival grounds, which means a ton of horrible choices will be made about which bands will prioritize throughout the Long Day Fest, which is due to begin at 11 a.m. and end at 11 p.m. Will we have to choose between My Chemical Romance and... See, that's another thing. If there's different stages, it's like people have to pick between the bands, right? We feel for any emo kid, it has to make this heartbreaker of a call. Both bands are listed at the top of the bill right next to each other. Both also remain wildly popular. Paramore returned from a hiatus to record a new album, while My Chemical Romance reunited in 2019 for their tour to be pushed back twice due to COVID. So, yeah, I don't know. This just is not looking good. This is not good. And then let's see here. All right, one more thing actually. So if you go on this Newsweek article, it says Live Nation is facing multiple lawsuits since the Astroworld tragedy. In December, it was announced that a congressional panel will investigate the promoter. Promoter? I hardly know her. The House Oversight Committee confirmed its launch of an investigation, the roles and responsibilities for Astroworld security planning for the event. The steps Live Nation took after being made well aware that law enforcement had declared it a mass casualty event. A letter to Live panel said, recent reports raised serious concerns about whether your company took adequate steps to ensure the safety of 50,000 concert goers. Yeah, that's basically what they're talking about on here. So, all in all, it's just very upsetting to see this, but it's also like, obviously people are very excited about it. Like when you go to the comments on Instagram here, you see nothing but like people just being so excited. And this person says, they know what they are doing, and my internal emo is definitely surfacing. And honestly, to tell you the truth, when I first saw this, I just thought this was fake. Straight up. I was like, what? This poster looks like something you would see when you walk into like a Hot Topic store. I mean, I guess that's why, right? Because it's stuff like that, because it's like emo stuff. So they did a good job. Good job, the people who made this. But look at this. Someone commented, I'm going to disrespect the fuck out of my surroundings. Let's see what else some comments are saying here. I saw a video on how they should have booked an abandoned mall somewhere for nostalgia. And I said, actually, not a bad idea. They should have brought an abandoned mall and let us go wild trashing the place. finally get to live out those fantasies. I don't know about that, but anyway, this whole thing is freaking havoc. I just wanted to bring that up to kick things off. But if you're new here, my name is Max. This podcast is called It's All Good because, well, that wasn't all good, but I say it's all good a lot. It's something I say, so figured why not name it that. But I have a lot I want to talk about too. A lot of like current news and just some other like things of what's going on. So the other day I saw this huge thing about 5G and how it could like affect airplanes and how people won't be able to fly and people are going to be stranded overseas because of the whole 5G thing, I guess is like messing it up for airplanes. But I have a video here that talks about it. Let's watch this video and then we'll talk about it.
Those top airline executives warning of a potential aviation catastrophe when AT&T and Verizon deploy their new 5G service tomorrow. They say it could make some large aircraft unstable, strand tens of thousands of Americans overseas. Our transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is at Newark Airport with the latest. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George, good morning to you. Unless changes are made, the CEOs say we will see a slew of cancellations starting tomorrow. And we're not just talking about passenger flights, but also cargo flights, including those carrying vaccines. This morning,
dude, why is there just always another problem with like vaccines and COVID? And every time they like think they have something figured out, there's always like a big disruption that just totally throws everything off. But anyway, let's continue this.
the major airlines warning of a possible catastrophic aviation crisis beginning in less than 24 hours when AT&T and Verizon are set to launch new, stronger 5G technology.
Okay, here's the crazy thing about this, is that this all just happened in a matter, like they said, 24 hours. We all got this information like overnight. It was like, boom, this is going to happen. And they're like, yep, people are going to be stranded overseas. It's all good. And then another thing I found out is that people in like Germany and like other countries have like already known about this. Apparently, we're just getting to this, which is like so crazy to me. But anyway, let's just continue this.
Which would give faster wireless service. The concern, whether 5G signals could interfere with radio altimeters. That's a device pilots use telling them how far they are from the ground and helping them land in poor visibility.
The frequencies being used in 5G are very close to the frequencies that are used in this radio altimeter.
So experts worry the devices might fail because of potential confusion of the 5G signals.
This is unsafe. Let us be clear. This is unsafe. The manufacturer.
So why did they do it? Why did they do it? You know?
Manufacturers have said so. Our airlines are saying so. The FAA is saying so. And so are pilot unions.
Executives from airlines including American, Delta, United, and Southwest urging U.S. officials to keep new, stronger 5G signals at least 2 miles away from U.S. airports, saying in a letter, immediate intervention is needed to avoid significant operational disruption. To be blunt, the nation's commerce will grind to a halt. The CEO's adding that certain larger...
The nation's commerce will grind to a halt? As if things are not already bad enough, you know?
Planes can't be used and could potentially strand tens of thousands of Americans overseas. One union saying its pilots are prepared to ground their planes if the FAA doesn't act.
We're not going to fly the airplane unless it's safe. We're going to yell from the rooftops that we need to stop this. Take pause. We can get this done.
Other countries have...
Why are these people, I guess because of COVID, but it's just so funny that like these people that are on the news always are on like some really horribly connected Zoom call.
Have successfully launched similar 5G signals, but the FAA says the 5G in America will be twice as powerful. The FAA saying overnight it continues to work with the aviation industry and wireless companies to try to limit 5G-related flight delays and cancellations. Meanwhile, AT&T and Verizon have not commented on this latest warning, but they've said in the past that this technology is safe with planes, saying, quote, the question of whether 5G operations can safely coexist with aviation has long been settled. Michael, we will be following this one.
I know we.
Dude, this is just so stressful. Like, I'm not even in a position where I have to fly, so I guess I'm lucky because of that. Like, at least right now I don't have to. But, like, imagine people that have to, like, fly for their jobs, people that are, like, just, they're using, like, planes to, like, send stuff overseas. Just everything involving planes. It just sets so many people back. So I don't understand how this just came to be out of nowhere. Now, I saw this other thing over here from USA Today right here. It says, let's read this together. AT&T, Verizon delay rollout of 5G near airports as airlines warn of incalculable damage to economy. AT&T and Verizon will hold off on rolling out 5G within 2 miles of airports when the rest of their 5G networks go live on Wednesday, a move lauded by the White House. As the nation's leading wireless provider, we have voluntarily decided to limit our 5G around airports. The Federal Aviation, the FAA, and our nation's airlines have not been able to fully resolve navigating 5G around airports, despite it being safe and fully operational in more than 40 countries. AT&T expressed similar frustration. At our sole discretion, we have agreed to defer turning on a number of towers. So they're kind of taking like temporary measures and not putting these near airplanes, I guess, which is, I guess, good for this. But it still means that people need to take precautions, which is like just so scary, as if like just regular flying isn't scary enough. I mean, I don't know. Some people probably would not agree with me. Some people are probably like, oh yeah, flying's very safe, like, and don't feel anything. But I don't know. At least for me personally, when I'm on an airplane, like, I always think about that, right? You're like, dang, like, what if something were to happen? What if, like, the pilot fell? I don't know. Maybe I just think of all the what ifs, but you do wonder when you're on an airplane with, like, all the crashes and planes going underwater and everything like that. You do, like, wonder. So it's scary to see something like this to just add to, I guess, people like myself who have those fears, makes it even worse. But I just hope they get this figured out, because it just seems like such, like, a... I don't know. My whole thing with this is that if they were to say this, if they had said this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have felt at least a little better about it, and like they'd have time to maybe sort things out. But they're just like, yep, this is happening. Boom. Overnight. This is what's going on. It's like, huh? It's very, very, very bizarre. Wednesday's rollout had already been pushed back 2 weeks. We recognize the economic importance of expanding 5G. So I don't even understand, like, really why they would have to. I mean, I get it, because obviously technology is moving forward and there's things that require 5G, right? But on the same coin, it's not like this is a life or death thing that has to happen right now. So why don't they hold off completely and then figure this out? So, yeah, that's a very, very bizarre thing. Another thing that I wanted to talk about on here is just some stuff with COVID, because there's just so many like weird things happening right now. There was a period of time where I thought I had COVID because I tested positive on like the rapid result at the testing center, and I ended up being negative when I got the other test back. So it turns out that I never actually had COVID when I got my PCR results back. But I thought that I had COVID, so I was like under that lockdown for 5 days, which at one point that was 10 days. At another point that was 14 days. So that whole thing threw me off. And they're like 14 days, 10 days, and 5 days. And it's just like, I mean, obviously like there's studies done and stuff like that, but it's just so like hard on your brain to really like soak that in and be like, because you wonder, you're like, why, right? And then all of a sudden you see people going back to work so soon, and then it starts to make you think. And again, this is not me being a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, But it starts to make you think, like, are they really just trying to push people back to work because of, like, the capitalist society we live in? Is that part of why it got pushed back? You know, I don't know. I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm not an expert. They've done studies. They know what they're doing, but it does get you wondering is what I'm trying to say. So it's a very, very weird thing. And now this is something that I wanted to talk about. So this happened about 5 days ago. I saw this video. There was this video, and I saw this in the news too. There were fake COVID testing sites going around. Very, very strange how someone would think that they could, I guess, get people's information from this and just use COVID to their advantage. Let's watch this video together. And we'll talk about it.
Tried to find a COVID-19 rapid test recently. You know how difficult it's been with the Omicron surge, sending people in search of tests. Well, we spoke to multiple people who say they found this site administering free tests, no appointment necessary, and results in at least 15 minutes. But days, even weeks later, they say they now fear they've given up sensitive information and may never get their results. At ABC 10, we are...
Dude, that little box looks so sketchy.
Getting action to keep our community protected. With no luck finding a rapid COVID test appointment, many kept searching online.
I actually went on Google.
I just searched like local Sacramento walk-in.
I think I just Googled Sacramento rapid COVID test.
Took me to the nearest one and said it was free.
We spoke to several people surprised to find the Center for COVID Control available. It lists more than 275 locations.
And that's the scary thing. Like, that actually sounds kind of real, right? Center for COVID Control. Like, if I saw that, I probably would have fallen for it. And this happened like right by where I'm from too, which is like very weird.
Across the country, offering free tests, no appointments needed.
I was a little bit of in a rush because, Christmas was coming up.
So Nick Dunleavy handed over his ID and insurance card to get swabbed at this testing site, operating in...
I feel like I wouldn't want to give my information to a testing site that looks like that, right? That brown door and that metal box. It's like a shipping container, dude.
A mobile container office in a shopping plaza on Truxell Road in Sacramento. The organization offers free COVID-19 testing on its website, promising results within 48 hours for PCR tests and results for rapid tests verbally in 15 minutes or by email in up to 3 hours. But 1 week later, still no results for his rapid tests. He says he received results for a PCR test days later than promised, and the whole time he couldn't reach anyone in the organization.
I got on the phone, I tried to call them. It was like a 240-minute wait or something.
240-minute wait. Huh? Yeah, that's how... God, dude.
Ricardo Cervantes went to one of the organization's testing sites in Los Angeles on Monday. He handed over personal information in desperation, and he still hasn't gotten results.
It's just a feeling of like...
Okay, this is just so sad because it sets people back, right? Because you already have to wait, whatever they said now, the 5 days before you're not contagious anymore. So you're already like quarantining. But when you don't even get your results back from something like this situation, you're just waiting what? You're probably going to wait 14 days or something to play it safe, right? Or 10 days or whatever it is. So imagine all that time wasted and people not working. Like, I'm sure these few people aren't just 3-4 people this happened to. Like, it's had to have happened to a lot of people, because this happened in Sacramento, this happened in Illinois, this happened in Florida. There's a few other places this happened. So very, very upsetting to see that, like, something like that's already bad has gotten even worse, right?
Disgusting, like invasion, or I don't know. It's gross.
They aren't the only ones. The organization's Instagram filled with complaints from patients. Some positive Google reviews are from users who left 5 stars for...
Oh, you left 5 stars for something that's fake. Very convenient fast, as I received my fast rapid test results within an hour at a sporting event. Would definitely recommend to everyone. What do you want to bet that it was like this guy and his friends, or this person I should say, and their friends just putting... There's just 0 likes on this.
For several of these test sites across the country within a week.
My name's Van. I'm a reporter with ABC 10.
Yes.
Look at this. I bet you he doesn't even answer.
And we had a lot of patients say that they're not getting results at your site.
Yes.
Are you a legitimate site here?
Yes. Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah.
Oh, we couldn't even think of anything to say, so he had to go back in to think of something to say, probably.
The worker had me speak to another employee. He first told me everyone received their results, but also said they experienced a system outage a day earlier due to high demand. When I pressed to...
That's so stupid, because I feel like that's something that people can actually believe, right? Because you think, oh, there's a high demand, and then you don't even think twice, because there is a high demand for something like this. Dude, this is hard to watch almost.
Speak to his boss, he directed me to their website.
It has call us, it has a phone number.
Mm-hmm. That number doesn't go anywhere, and it's not affiliated with any state registry.
Dude, you can't really ask me these things because I'm just working here.
So
You can't really ask me these things because I'm working here. Huh?
kept digging. A form provided to ABC 10 by a patient indicates a partnership with United Diagnostic Labs. We ran both Center for COVID Control and United Diagnostic Labs through the federal COVID-19 spending tracker, the CDC laboratory registry, the state's testing site database, and the state's laboratory licensing search. The Center for COVID Control did not show up at all. United Diagnostic Labs did not appear in any lab registries, but 4 groups
caught 'em.
with similar names were earmarked for federal funding. What we did track down was an LLC in that name registered last month in Illinois. The principal, an insurance agent who told ABC 10 he only provides software to the Center for COVID Control, which he believed sends test specimens out of state. He gave us a number for the founder that led to a full voicemail. Emails we...
Of course it's a full voicemail. Of course. Dude, this takes so much work to do something that's so fake. It's so sad to see how far out of the people's way they're willing to go to screw over other people, right?
sent weren't returned. Our questions at ABC 10 now leading to action by the California Department of Public Health. In a statement, they say any laboratory that tests specimens originating in California must have a California laboratory license. Laboratory Field Services will proceed with an investigation. Officials there said they would not be able to comment further.
It really is a opportune situation for people to take advantage.
In the age of COVID-19, Lynn Connor with the
Watching people get COVID tests is so hard to watch. I feel like I feel it in my nose watching this.
Better Business Bureau says consumers need to know not all testing centers are what they seem. And last spring, federal investigators shut down.
That's what all the signs look like. They say COVID-19 testing by appointment or testing now free. They all look the same. So it's like, you know, in these people's defense, it's very hard to like distinguish what could be a scam, right?
Walk-up test sites in Arizona, Florida, and Washington, claiming they were fake, used to scam and defraud people. To protect yourself, Connor recommends starting with a trusted source like a doctor, a hospital, or a public health agency to...
Which is just so sad, because if people do go towards like doctors and go that way, it's obviously going to be a longer wait because of these people messing it up and more people like not trusting these. So the lines there are just going to get longer to a point where they can't even handle it. So then they're going to have to go to the testing center that they don't even like. I guess they'll be able to figure out if it's real if they have like a license and like they can ask questions to figure it out, right? But still, it's like just the amount of like people that also don't even have social media or like know about this too that can like fall for this stuff is very concerning.
To refer you to a test site
and make sure that they're legitimate and that they are listed there as a legitimate site. That way you won't get into any difficulty with it.
Patients we spoke to say they'll do that next time, learning this lesson the hard way.
It's really sad and scary to think that you could get taken advantage of just by doing something that should be the right thing.
Again, we called and messaged the Center for COVID Control several times and did not receive a response back.
No response back. How sad. Yeah, so that's what's going on. And I think they're at a point where they're fixing this and like getting this taken care of. But on top of this, what's also happening is because of COVID and because of like people that are struggling. And so what I'm seeing a lot of lately is a bunch of scams happening. And I got a scam very recently on my Instagram that once I posted this, a bunch of artists, a bunch of like video people, a bunch of photo people, a bunch of people that have like small business or in a band immediately messaged me back because they all got the same scam too. So I'm going to show you guys what this scam is real fast. And I'm going to show you how they kind of go about it. So scam started when this account that was on a private, that was set to private on Instagram messaged me. And they said, hey, are you a video editor? So what they're doing is they get you to like think they're giving you work, because that's how they get the scam to start off. And you say, yeah, I am. And then they say, great. I was hoping you could make a birthday video for my daughter. I'd like to have pictures and a song played in the video. Willing to pay $300. Okay. So, very, very weird how they do that, because first off, for me, I don't promote myself as someone that does that. So it's like, first it felt a little weird to me, but I was still like, well, I guess I could take it on. But then they say, I was wanting to have some pictures and videos of her to be in a slideshow. Is it doable? And they send a link to the Google Drive, and you open it up, and when you look at these actual pictures they send, they're like pretty pixelated, and they look like you could probably reverse image search them on Google, would be my guess, right? So that's really weird. But then they say, I need your full name and email to write you a mobile check for payment. And then once you agree to that, then they say, hey, there was a mistake with the check. I requested $3,000 instead of $300 to the account manager. Now he wrote a check for that amount. I won't be able to request another check for another month, but I'm trying to see what I can do. I'll get back to you soon. So that is the like giant red flag of all the red flags in this, is that they think that you're going to like front them that money because they got too much. So then you're going to make up for it, and they're going to send you that, and then they're going to run with your money, which is like just the dumbest thing, because there's actually people out there that genuinely believe this and like don't know any better. Like some very small businesses that have no experience, they might actually believe this and think that's how it works. I'm not saying that's like people I know, but I'm saying like there's people out there that actually believe this and fall for it, and that's why they do this. That's the whole reason of it. So I put that on my story, and it kind of blew up, and a bunch of artists messaged me saying that they got this scam too, I guess, because it's they like on a different account, they'll send them a message saying, I need you to sing a birthday song for my daughter, and it needs to be about da da da. And they really tug at your heartstrings and make you think that this is like a real thing that you have to do until they send that message. And it's just a very strange thing. And that's literally just me doing like that's literally just me sharing one scam. But I'm going to go over and talk about this other scam, because there's also been an extreme amount of like phone calls from random numbers that call you, like, you know, those ones you pick up and they go, hi, this is da 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 da. This is the credit card services. There's been like a million of those calls going around lately. And on top of that too, I get just the weirdest messages and like emails at this time, because this is, I hate how smart, well, okay. These people they're really dumb, but they're smart in a way that they know that this is like the quote unquote slow season for people. And they also know that a lot of people are like out of work, right? So they think if we give them a message that seems like they have work, maybe they're likely to fall for it, and they grab people's money. I made a whole nother video on YouTube talking about another scam that goes around where they tried to get me like film a wedding to say, oh no, sorry, someone's in the hospital right now, so I actually can't do it. But if I could pay you an extra like $500 to go help him out at the hospital, then we can do this, or blah, blah. And then what they do is they say, well, I don't have any forms of payment, but I have credit cards. So if I send you $5,000, could you send me whatever it is, the money that they need, so that they can at the end just take that money and run, and then you're left with nothing, because the check check they send you never clears. So it's like, there's that going around. And this is just me scraping surface level here. There's so many scams going around. If you have had a scam recently, leave it in the comments. Let me know. I want to know about whatever scam you've had, because there's so many. Here's another thing I wanted to talk about. Let's change topics. Okay, so kind of in the same realm of things, but a little bit different. So I saw someone talk about this on a TikTok live the other day, which inspired me to talk about it. But I have personally seen this myself, so I feel the need to talk about it. People's mental health and overall like well-being is just so bad right now. So bad. And it's been bad since the start of the pandemic. And that being said, the main problem with that is that there's really not much, like there's resources out there to like help people with their mental health, right? But it's very, like, not everyone has access to those resources. And like the world in general doesn't really do too much to like give two shits about people's mental health. Like, yeah, there's people out there with resources, but I'm saying like there's not like a big thing that like everybody has access to that can like help out people's overall well-being. It's just not. Money always takes precedence first. That's just how it is. We're in a capitalist society. I'm not conspiracy theorist, but that's just how it rolls, right? So that said, what's happening is that there's a lot of like, especially on Instagram or especially on TikTok, there's like a lot of, which is where like a lot of people my age and younger are at right now, and people that are struggling with like mental health. Not to say that older people aren't, but there is a lot of older people that are. But what's happening is like there's people that are like mental health gurus, or people that are like therapists online that aren't actually licensed therapists, that don't know how to like genuinely take care of other people, which is like so disheartening to see, because at the end of the day, like people just need help, and spending your money on someone who's not a licensed therapist or not there to like help you out with your overall well-being doesn't help, right? So the amount of like people that are actually licensed is very small. So those people are probably very flooded with work right now that sometimes they probably can't even like have because of COVID. But let alone like there's only so many people to attend to a certain group of people. But like even people that never saw therapists before are like going to see therapists because of their mental health being just so bad right now. So I don't know. I guess I say all this to say that like if you are struggling and you do need help, make sure you're seeing like a licensed therapist for this stuff. Because there's a lot of scams going around, people getting emails, a lot of like people promoting them as a mental health helper or whatever the heck that is. Don't go to those people. Just if you are in a place of like being able to have access to a professional licensed therapist, please go that route. I mean, it's okay to go to someone as long as you know they're not like just there for your money and to, like they don't know anything. I guess that's fine too, but like as long as they're not just out to like take your money and you feel comfortable, just make sure you feel comfortable with this person, whatever you do. And that's all I have to say about that, because I don't know, it just really upset me when I found that out the other day, because it's just sad to see that like the whole world and everyone in a bad place and then people taking advantage of that. I don't like the idea of people being taken advantage of. I think it's a very sad thing, and I don't ever want to do that to anybody. And then there's one other thing I wanted to cover. Two other things. So I hit 5,000 followers on Instagram. So if you're still listening to this, thank you for the followers on Instagram. My thing is Max Williams Video. Pretty excited about that. And hey, if you are still listening, I created an Instagram called So Good Podcast for you to follow, to watch my episodes on, or to get updates on. So if you want to follow that, go ahead and follow that. But this is one other thing I'm talking about. So there's like, with all this happening, there's a bunch of shortages going on right now. Like just the most random things, right? Like you'll go from one place to another that has something and another place that doesn't. Like the other day I went to go get like a pie crust, and they were out of pie crust because of COVID. And then you go to another place that has them, but then another one that doesn't have them. Or like I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying like this place that has chicken just doesn't have chicken all of a sudden. Or like I was talking to someone about this the other day too. It was like they went to go get like something for their car and the place didn't have it because there's like part shortages and stuff like that. There's just the most random things there's like shortages for, which in turn makes sense because of the lack of like employment. But there's also people that are just straight up leaving their jobs right now because of the circumstances of everything. And there's like not many people being like employed right now because of the current times. So there's just a lot of like people just out there like struggling, which is like, I don't know. Everything just feels very like, I wouldn't want to say questionable, but there's a lot of things that are questionable and a lot of things that are just not like lining up to make a lot of sense. Because like there's stuff like certain restaurants that are closed and certain ones that are open. And then there's like venues that are closing, but then a venue next door that is open. And then there's like venues that have like certain days that are closed, but then the next day is open. So it's like, what's the difference between January 23rd and January 24th? Like, I don't understand. There's just some stuff that doesn't. And then here's another thing. The other day they were saying, oh my God, dude. Okay, don't get me wrong here. I'm all for wearing masks, 100%. But the other day I saw something that said you should wear a regular mask plus a K95 mask. When I'm wearing my regular cloth mask, I already am like, I feel like after about 4 hours, I'm like, whew, and I have to like breathe. There's some breathing ASMR for you. I feel like I have to like take a pretty deep breath after that, right? But I wore a K95 mask one day for like an hour, and I already felt like I was like short on breath. So imagine wearing a regular mask plus that. It'd be like 20 minutes, and I wouldn't be able to breathe. Like, a KN95 plus a regular mask, that is cutting your oxygen, right? Because that thing locks onto your mouth pretty tightly. So there was a thing saying to prevent Omicron to wear both of those masks. And I don't know. That was just very bizarre when I saw it. I was like, what? But when you go around, you don't see people wearing masks like that. People are wearing masks, but you don't see people wearing double the masks. Sometimes you do in some cases, maybe if they're older, but you don't see it a lot. And there's also just like places with mask restrictions and other places that don't, or like restaurants that have them and restaurants that don't. There's just a lot of like very weird stuff going on right now that doesn't, if you know what I'm talking about right now, leave a comment. Let me know if you're feeling the same way as me about this, because it's just so weird. Everything is not making any sense. But anyway, I think I'll leave it at that. Just kind of wanted to go over. Yeah, we covered everything. I just wanted to talk about that, and hopefully this was, I don't know, a nice episode, and hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did and you're new here and still listening, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I do post these on Spotify, so if you can search It's All Good Podcast on Spotify and you can listen to it. And it's on YouTube. This is a video podcast, so if you're on the video, appreciate it. If you're listening on Spotify, I appreciate that a lot. And share it with your friends, okay? Share this link to your friends. Let them know what's going on. Normally I like to do episodes on here where it's just me, and then episodes of me and a guest. Usually when it's a guest, they'll be talking about some sort of creative outlet and what they do. And when it's just me, I just kind of have these one-off episodes where I talk about things going on in my life and things like current news and stuff going on. So if you enjoyed this, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram. All right. Bye.